Today's episode is presented by Lodestar, the fee experts.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Lending Leaders. My name is Alayna Gardner, and this week I'm joined by Meg Bennett, AMP and CMB, and she is about to take on an exciting new opportunity that we're not quite ready to announce at the time of this recording. But if you go to her LinkedIn, you can figure out where she's at now. So welcome, Meg, to the show.
Alayna, thank you so much for having me. Super excited to be here with you this morning.
Of course, yeah. So Meg, you have been in the industry for a little while, not a long while, but a little while. I'd say mid-size amount.
Give or take 5 years and some change. Yeah.
Yeah. Which feels both really long and kind of short when you talk to people with 20, 30 years of experience.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I feel very similarly. I'm like, I've been here for 3 years, but also that's not a long time at all.
Actually, something that's really funny, I was speaking with one of my closest friends and mentors, and she brought up the idea. She's like, so you've been in the industry for like 10 years, right? And I was like, no, about half of that. And she goes, yeah, but you've put in the work. You've put in the work. And that's why it feels like you've been in the industry longer. And so like it kind of hit home. She compared it to the rock star like loan officers or top producers. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, I mean, you have lots of letters after your name, I think, which is always a sign that someone's been in an industry for a while, right? Is you get these very specific accreditations. But let's talk a little bit before we jump into all of your letters. Let's talk a little bit about how you got into the mortgage industry.
Sure. So actually, it's kind of funny. A lot of times when you ask people how they get into the industry, they just fell into it. And honestly, that's my answer as well. I was searching for my career, and I had just graduated college, and I found Form Free and a small fintech company based here in Athens, and didn't really know what I was getting into. Verification of assets, day one certainty, and it was really kind of crazy that when I fell hard, and I loved every minute of it because it's fast paced. You're constantly learning, but really I didn't know what I was getting into until I was hired on a Form Free. Yeah. And
yeah, I mean, I feel very similarly. I feel like I fell face first into this. And so what made you decide to go for, I think, your first step, right? So your School of Mortgage Banking 1, your AMP course. What was the thing that spurred you on to take that course?
Sure. So honestly, there were a lot of, what do you call them? Like the OGs that they had these letters behind their names. And I thought to myself, like, oh, I want to get my CMB. And then I talked to Danielle or Amber that used to run the educational classes at MBA to try to start figuring out what do I need to do to get my CMB. And I knew I wanted to do it in 5 years because that was basically what the requirement is to get your CMB. You have to be in the industry for 5 years. So I wrote, I actually have taken it down off my goal list, but I wrote it on my goals, get my CMB in 5 years. And I learned that I had to take these classes because I couldn't do the fast track for the executive track because of my lack of experience. And I dove into the School of Mortgage Banking 1, and it kicked my ass. I'm not going to lie. I was like, what am I doing? Because I'd only been in the industry for about a year when I took my class. And that was so much fun. The networking, the people, I love learning. I'm curious. And so part of my journey truly was to be able to understand my clients' needs and to be able to understand what the process, like how can you truly give to your clients if you don't know what they're doing day in and day out. And so that was kind of what drove me into getting my AMP.
Yeah. And I think that's definitely something that I view as so important is like, I'm personally going for my AMP right now. And, very similarly, I don't qualify for a CMB, right? Like I can't even like think about it, but I think it's so important as salespeople for us to recognize and know what's going on in our industry and be able to have intelligent conversations with lenders and say, hey, here's an outsider's perspective. Here's what we can offer. Here's how we can help, right? And I think a lot of times vendors are just maybe in it to make the money,
Sure.
and not even in a bad way. It's a lot of investment to go in and send people to these courses. And it's honestly, if you're not excited about it, maybe hedging isn't that fun.
Very true.
Um,
Very true.
yeah. So it's definitely something that, I'm a little terrified. I've heard School of Mortgage Banking 2 is where it really gets into gear.
I actually loved that one better than the first one. I don't know if it's because I had more experience or because, so obviously the pandemic happened, and I have a very, very close mentor of mine that I was talking to him about waiting to take the School of Mortgage Banking 2 class until it was in person again.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, Bennett, that sounds like an excuse to me. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. So I got the scholarship, the diversity scholarship that they offer, which I highly recommend to people that may be wondering how they're going to invest in it. But I would also say that taking it online and having the class spread out over a month versus slamming everything in 1 week, that was really beneficial for me because I was able to slowly digest the information. And then Seth Sprague was like by far one of my favorite instructors for secondary. Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, I mean, I felt very confident kind of coming into School of Mortgage Banking 1 because I was like, oh, I know the origination process. I feel comfortable here. And I still learned things about origination that I didn't know, but I knew a lot of it. And then, once we got into the hedging conversation, it was definitely that. I think our class at least kind of like veered off heavily to like the left. They're like, but what about this situation? I was like, guys, we're high level here. Let's stay up here. So obviously you have this, banner on the wall that says, I'm going to be a CMB in 5 years.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's a huge motivator. I'm a big fan of positive affirmations and those types of things. You go through your AMP and then you have to wait, right, for your CMB, right?
Once I got my AMP, then basically what I had to do is sign up for the CMB prep class. And so it's not that much of time that you have to wait in between one or the other. It's just a matter of like setting it up, right? So I took my third class in DC, another great, that one was so much fun. The third class is so much fun. It's a group project. You get a scenario and then you present it. You present on like why you would do like best efforts versus mandatory, or why, it's a lot of fun. And so we finished that up in the summer, and then I took the prep class in January of 2023. And so, and then once you complete the prep class, that's when you can go and take the exam and then do your oral and then get your CMB. So
and you get to walk across the stage this weekend.
I'm so excited about it. I'm so excited. Yes, it's been 5 years that I've been waiting for this.
What would you say has been the most challenging part of it for you, right? Going through like signing up for your AMP, doing your CMB. I've heard a lot of people say the oral exam is a lot, but I can't imagine that was it for you.
No, it wasn't. I would say that the written exam, I decided just to take all of it at once. And people who know me know that it's hard enough for me to be still for just 10 minutes. So that was probably the hardest part. And also not really knowing, for me, I have severe test anxiety. Like I just, I've always had it. And so for me, it was just basically saying, just do it. My sponsor was very much, she was like, just go take the test. Just take
Yeah.
the test, get it over with, and see what you pass. And I was like, okay. So I took it in order. You can take it in whatever order you want, but I took it in order. And the first 3 sections, the first 3 hours, I passed.
So long.
The next three, I didn't pass. And I noticed myself slipping while I was taking the test because I just started bullet pointing, and I was like, I'm ready to get out of this room. But I wouldn't do it a different way. Honestly,
Mhm.
I wouldn't change the way of how I did it outside of, I would recommend for other people that are similar to me to break it into 2 days and take 3 sections one day and then go back in the next day and take the other 3 sections. Cause it's a lot to sit there for 6 hours, and it is truly a 6 hour exam, and it's all written. So there's no multiple
Ugh.
choices. Yeah.
Well, really excited for that. That might be
Yeah.
I hate tests. But so that, I mean, I think that's so great though, that, and thank you for your transparency and your honesty with that. Cause I think normalizing the struggle for some people of test taking and all of that, like, I know a lot of people in this industry don't like to sit still, right? Or
Yeah.
movers or shakers or get
That's
making
right.
things happen.
Yeah.
And so that's definitely something that's kind of a pivot from what we do day to day.
100%. Well, and I would also venture to say, like fear will hold you back from taking the test. And there are
Mhm.
people that have taken the course that don't even take the test because they're afraid. And I'm like, really? The only thing that's going to happen is you may fail some sections, right? But then you can retest.
Mhm.
So don't let the fear hold you back from just pulling the trigger and getting it done. So I think
Yeah.
that's really important.
No, I think that says a lot about your courage and your bravery to just say like, we're gonna full send it. Let's go.
Let's go. Let's go. Yes. Yep.
Well, as a newly minted CMB, we have a few minutes left, so I get the opportunity to ask you a real mortgage question and not just about your test. So what would you say, obviously we're in a really difficult market right now. We all know it. We're going to MBA. We're recording this the week before MBA. This will come out, I believe, the week after. But what is the biggest opportunity you see for mortgage lenders to provide connection and authenticity that you think they're missing right now? Because I think one of the things you're known for is being so truly authentic to yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really good question. I would say that a lot of people, again, going back to the fear driven word, a lot of people are operating out of fear right now. And I think that that's causing some disconnect with
Mhm.
how they can think long term, because I think right now everybody's so focused on right now and making revenue and trying to figure out how to survive the storm.
Mhm.
Um, and I would say leaning in and getting curious and really trying to ask ask those hard questions. Hey, what are you doing to overcome this struggle? Whether it's
Mhm.
you're swapping out a piece of technology in order to perform better, or you're recognizing that you never implemented a technology and you're just wasting money on something that you're not even leveraging. So I would say there's a lot of things, but also like training. Like, why
Mhm.
would you get rid of trainers? I think that training is so important, because how else are you supposed to learn the new technology, or how to break a system that might be working well, but at the end of the day, it could work better. And so it's
Mhm.
just kind of putting in some different strategies and thinking more long term versus just like, okay, what do we do right now? Because there's time to put in the effort right now. So that would be what I would say.
I love that and very much agree. So, as we wrap up here today, our big question is here at Lodestar, we're here about celebrating the people and the things that inspire us. A Lodestar is a guiding light, literally and metaphorically speaking. Who do you consider a Lodestar in your life, either personally or professionally?
Yeah. I'm so fortunate that I have so many great people in my tribe. I would say two ladies that come to mind. this Misty Snow and Kate Amore. They've
Mhm.
been two people that have truly helped me overcome a lot of my personal and professional struggles. Yeah, and I feel like it's really important that I list them because they've really helped me get where I want to be, and continue to grow. And obviously, I could say my children, but like when it's not. It's like my guiding light is my tribe, and yeah, that's that.
Yeah. No, that makes total sense. I mean, honestly. Well, thank you so much, Meg, for being on with us here for Lending Leaders. Where can people find you?
All over. I'm all over the place. So I LinkedIn is the best spot. So they can
Perfect.
find me. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Meg, and thank you everyone for listening today to this episode of Lodestar or Lending Leaders. I we adjusted the name, and now I have to get used to it. It's fine.
Totally fine. Authentic. Okay.
Exactly. You can follow us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you so much for supporting and listening to us. Honestly, we continue to see our numbers grow, and we're so happy that people get to enjoy this content that we put together every week. So thanks everyone for listening, and we'll see y'all next week.